on. Let's get past the delay. Still has us hosting Kayla right now.
Oh, that's awful. I got it. Like, I hate that when I auto-host someone, then I'm interrupting them. I don't want to do that.
Oh, there it goes.
All right, good.
Well, she's raiding into us after her stream's done, so.
No, I know she does. It's just I don't want to interrupt her stream. I feel bad about that because I'm auto-hosting it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was no shade at Kayla. Kayla is incredible.
We like you.
Hey, Myamorph.
Hello.
Hello, William. Hello, Tom. I think, William, you've had quite a few wins. I think Tom has been probably the most participative viewer with the fewest wins. And I don't know what happens with the Nightbot, but it's not intentional, I promise. And so good to see both of you on tonight early. Got 7 viewers. All of you, thank you. Already kicking off here. We're going to start in just a minute or two, and should be a fun talk tonight because I'm going to make Evelyn do all the talking. I know, always. Josh, good to see you. I'm going to put out a disclaimer before we go live in 1 minute. I have one image ready to show, which is not my normal. So we're gonna work around this as best we can tonight, and you all need to help us as our great friends and viewers. We're gonna work through this and make it a real interactive session tonight. Jay, we have Lord Gazumba. Jay, I know I owe you all those registrations. I am not overly lax, my friend. Those will happen soon. I'm so excited about all of it. We got great stuff happening soon. I know Tim is still complaining. Tim was supposed to talk to me today. He was busy. I was busy. We couldn't connect on our call. But for everyone out there in all of D&D land, just know, be careful if you pickpocket the ever-mysterious Tim. He may hold a grudge for all eternity.
I think he might, John. You just...
Which makes him the ever-mysterious.
poked the bear.
I did, but when the bear pokes the bear, I'm okay. Manda, oh Manda, I know. Thank you so much, and she's sending something for our charity stream, which
awesome.
is we're so thankful for her. She's a great help to our team. And there is no point in further delay. As unready as I may be, we shall go. Oh, I didn't even align our cams.
Oh, no.
They're still good though. That's awesome. I didn't work on it. They're perfect. Hello, everyone. I'm joined by, as always, the amazing Evelyn, who's with us on virtually every stream, both those physical and virtual. The only ones she misses are those with my family occasionally, and we still like having those. But she is my Blue Box partner in crime, and oh my gosh, we're all basking in the glory of her stream last night with the incredible world building DMing, which she was so reluctant. I used this phrase earlier with someone, but I would say recalcitrant to do it, and she crushed it like a tiny little grape. But thank you for being with us tonight. We're going to talk about world building, and we're going to show some of my stuff. But my favorite tool of choice, World Anvil, is not cooperating, and it is not their fault. It is my fault because I have not logged in some time, and I'll tell everyone why tonight. But before we do that, I'd like to talk about our sponsors and our upcoming stream for charity, which is the most important things that we're working on. So, charity stream July 17th. We are working with St. Jude's Children's Hospital through Lord Gazumba. He and I are collaborating, and we have an amazing stream with them where we are going to raise, I think, a lot. We shall see. I got some, all of my fans and friends and our community have already sent stuff. We're getting things we can give away. It's going to be a fun night that night, or all day actually. It starts at 10 in the morning to go deep into the night. And we want you to mark your calendar. If you do nothing else, mark that date, the 17th, Saturday. You need to be with us for our charity stream for St. Jude's Children's Hospital, the Research Center. They do amazing work for kids, and it's probably the best charity I've ever supported. I love them so much. Hello, oh, Time Lord's wife, thank you, Kayla. Kayla, of course, not just a friend of this channel, but to all of the community, everyone that is doing great stuff for D&D. If you've watched Kayla on her streams, she is rock solid. A great DM, a great voice actor. Kayla, while you're on here, I asked you a few days ago, I don't have the latest update. What's the latest update with your auditions with Verizon? Can you pop that in the chat? We'd love to see it. And while we're waiting for that, anyone that's not followed yet, please give us a follow. We love having the growth of the community. Also join our Discord. We've got a great Discord, very active. Honestly, it's so active I can't keep up with it. And that's bad when the creator of the Discord can't keep up with his own Discord. But it's true, but I'm just so thankful. And then Evelyn, I want you to talk a little bit about last night. But before we do, let's talk about our sponsors. So let me say first, I want to say thank you to Mike Disney. Mike Disney, artist extraordinaire, creator of so much amazingness. He paints, he draws, he creates of all types of things. He sculpts from the bowls that are bowling. He does things which are remarkably and make you roll in laughter. He is the most incredible artisan, Mike Disney. We have also Frederica Draws, who is making not just the new Markov image, which you saw on Sunday, but she's going to be creating 5 new PC images for all of our GHA crew and a new DM image because she said, I look tired on that one now. I don't know, like when your artist says, I want to create a new image, like, should you take is that shade, Evelyn? Is that shade? It might have been. Anyway, so she's doing that, and then just amazing stuff. Then she's also got some new initiatives she's working on. So we love Frederica. Then Troll Lord Games. Chuck, Stefan, they are incredible creators of a content which we're going to push out in future streams where we talk about how to make new campaigns. If you want to teach your kids how to play D&D, if you want to start new players into D&D, if you want something that's easy to jump into, the Troll Lord Games universe is incredible, and we're going to talk more and more about them in the coming months. Talk about our other sponsors, Evelyn.
Well, we also have Cozy Gamer. Theron over at Cozy Gamer. She makes the shiny math rocks that make us go click and clack and make us happy and help us defeat the baddies. So yes, so definitely go check out Cozy Gamer. We also have Mantic Games. They are the makers of Terrain Crate, but they also make lots of other terrain and minis and stuff, and they have a lot of incredible things over their way. And then we have Ferox Fabrication, who Darren actually joined us last week for our LMA, and we met him and discovered that he does everything by himself, and he does all of these incredible like mini painting supplies, and he makes these incredible DM screens and all these other really incredible things. So you definitely need to go check out Darren and Ferox Fabrication.
Okay, so let me pause you there, and I want you to think about the next one because I know we got a couple more to do. But Darren, since he came on last week, and we're not doing a sponsor of the week this week because I've only done the one stream, and I did not want to short shrift, although honestly, you crushed it last night. You hit as many viewers as I normally hit on Tuesdays, or pretty darn close to it. So we should have done a sponsor of the week, but I didn't. But I want to hit that real quick, and we're going to go to our sponsor video here with Ferox. This is incredible. He makes DM screens, incredible DM screens. Look at that. He makes, like, you can't even tell how cool those trays are. Dice trays, wet pallets. Brush trays. Coasters. He's got an amazing laser engraver. If you're a fan of D&D, you need to follow Ferox Fabrications. Even if you're not a DM, he can make all kinds of stuff for you. And if you are a DM and you want a shield like that, look at that! Woo! No, Josh. No question, the 80s synth vibe rocks. All right, so we're talking about world building tonight. We have just a little bit of time. We're going to raid into Jay shortly, but Evelyn, so I was working on a stream that was going to be exclusively focused on my world that I was building.
Right.
And I stopped when I jumped deeply into Greyhawk, and I'm so glad I did. I've enjoyed GHA and the whole community of Greyhawk, but I still am fostering this nascent world that I'm building. And so I've worked with World Anvil. I've got some stuff I may show tonight, but the more salient and temporal topic tonight is your world, because it rocked the stream last night here on Blue Box. So many people commenting in our Discord. And so I have a few ideas I want to guide tonight, talk through a few topics with world building, because I know it's fun. We've got lots of folks on our chat and in our Discord that are building their own worlds, and it's fun to follow Eberron, it's fun to follow Greyhawk or Faerun or whatever it is you want to do, but there is always that itch in the creator to make your own world. So let's start there. I'd like you to tell us why you decided initially to make your own world.
All right, well, let's see. I have been very deep into fantasy fiction since I was a kid, and I've loved the stories of these fantastical worlds that are full of just all sorts of different creatures and magic and heroes saving the day and all that sort of stuff. And I actually started writing when I was a teenager, and I liked just to write stories of all sorts in that same sort of vein. And as I got more and more into D&D, I realized that I could kind of, start creating something that would be a playground for me someday to bring some players into, to get a chance to check it out and get to experience some of these things that I have in my head. And maybe have a chance to build some really epic stories together, because that's one of my favorite things about D&D is that it's not just you telling the story, it's your whole group telling the story together. And the collaborative storytelling aspect of the whole experience what really appeals to me. And so that's why I started down this path, and I've been working on it for a while now.
Well, no, it showed last night. And by the way, everyone, I'm not sepia infused. There's no filter here, but I've got these maps up, which are my maps, and they're all giving this old school Middle Earth vibe, which is coloring me in this pleasant yellow. But come back to that topic, because I think a really good answer that probably is common for many that want to create a world initially. When you first started, was it daunting? I mean, there's so much out there. Like, tell me, like, how do you overcome? Like, no, why should I create a world? There's so much out there. It's daunting, but you did it, and you're doing it. Why?
Well, I mean, yeah, it definitely is daunting when you first like go, okay, I'm gonna do this thing, because it's just figuring out where to start. You know, you have all of these ideas all at once, and you're like, okay, I have all of these things, but where do I, like, what's my starting point? And so basically where I started was I kind of was like, okay, I know generally what I want to kind of create. And so I would just kind of make little like notes just everywhere, just little handwritten notes, as ideas would like kind of pop into my head, and then I started kind of organizing them into a more logical, structural way to follow. And then from there, I've been kind of starting to pull it all together and fill in the gaps in between all of these different ideas that have like come to me.
So dive into that just a bit more. So what was the first like gap? Like, so let me help you with this, because I'll tell you, when I first started my own, I've done a few worlds. That sounds horrible. I've done a few worlds. I've built some. Okay. I've taken a few forays into world building, which were of questionable value at times. And yes, thank you everyone. You're watching up on the stream tonight. This is the map of my world, Riven Realm, which you have not seen yet on any stream. And of course, the map is very Tolkien-esque. And you know, you see these boundaries here. Let me zoom out. Do not be befuddled by this. This is actually a couple of thousand miles in width. This is massive. It's a huge continent, which Riven Realm was based on, and you've got kind of the Sea of Thorns here to the south, which we maybe talk about tonight. And I've got some collaborative creators that have been working with me, and I'll eventually do it. But you got like these gaps of city, town, you know, no names there. But I'll talk about how I did this, which is probably the wrong way. I don't know, it's just how I did it. And I want to talk about how Evelyn has done it as well. So back to this. When you saw the gaps, let's back up again, because I know I ask questions that are sometimes tough to answer. So let me say, when you first sat, when's the first time you started working on your world?
I think it actually was shortly after I started playing with you in the Middle Earth campaign. I really kind of realized that that was something that was possible to be done. And
you started work on your world after my Rune Lords, or my Middle Earth campaign? Oh yeah, stop me. Oh no, don't get too excited.
because I was enjoying it so much, and the way that you as a DM tell the story and brought everything so much to life, I was like, okay, I've had these ideas. I had never really considered it being a thing that I could do in a D&D setting, like, because most of everything that I had played before was like module based. So like when I played previously before joining you, it was all module based.
Like what kind of modules? Like what? Because I know you've told me this before.
Whatever existing 3.5. I don't remember the exact modules because I don't want to. But
yeah. Okay. All right.
it wasn't so very memorable.
Okay.
But like when we started playing in with you, where like the backstory had such an impact on like how the story was crafted, and I could see how like the influence of the various parts, even in an existing thing, could play together and create something bigger than itself. And so I at that point I was like, well, I've had all these ideas, and the fact that like it can be such a living, breathing thing, and I want to be able to, and I had been considering DMing myself even before we started playing. Like that was something I was
Right.
looking into, but like just having that moment of epiphany of realizing, oh, I can do this too. I don't have to use the stuff that other people have already written, and so that was kind of what.
Okay. No, I honestly, I bet you're helping a lot of people tonight with that comment, because that's so true. And even with so what she's referring to is the Fourth Age campaign that I ran, and I'm literally like 1 or 2 sessions from completing, but many of the players have changed venues and jobs, including me, and so we're trying to make it all to connect, but I think will. And there I use some of Tolkien's lore and canon. I used the Lost Palantir module from Middle-earth role-playing, but then I heavily modified it and added stuff from the books and the movies, and kind of created something which was fun, but still had enough tangential connection to the stuff that people were familiar with that it felt fun and real, and was after King Elisar's reign, and it was in the Fourth Age. And so I think what Evelyn is saying, and please, you never hesitate to do this, correct me if I'm wrong, I want you to, but if I'm wrong, what you're saying is you saw that as okay, here's a pretty strong piece of canon and lore and a story, but then here are the crevices and nuances that can be changed or moved to create a different kind of story, and that's what led you, or at least was, no, I don't want to say led, was part of what led you to create what you are creating with your world. Is that fair?
Exactly, yeah, it's definitely was one of the points of inspiration, I think, that like just having that moment of connection to, oh, I can do this. This is a thing that we can do and have a real life, like working, moving narrative, and yeah, so.
Bravo. Now, I think the ever mysterious Tim, who we threw some shade at earlier because he's still mad about my characters pickpocketing him, but he said the truth, which is every great world building effort starts with coffee. And so tonight I'm doing a different kind of giveaway. It's not even a Blue Box giveaway per se. I'm giving away a mug from our great friend, Pat Draws. Pat Draws has a channel, a channel, and an Etsy, no, not even an Etsy. What is it, Evelyn? He's got a...
oh, dang it, I can't remember.
A store. He's got an online store. I'll call it that, yes. And he made this. I made a comment about getting... you got Overgored Energy with BGE, which was something that Mike Disney had. And I joked about having Blue Box OG Energy, which was the glorious Overgored, the essence of roleplay. And we're going to give away one of these mugs tonight, and I'm going to have to buy it from Pat. It's like $17, that's fine. But we're going to give away one of those tonight. And that really shows like creativity, because whoever thought of a beholder with pumpkin eyes, and yet now that's turned into something that Reaper created and everybody's talking about, at least in our community. And I think that's the essence of creation. Take what someone else has done, right? It's that idea, there's nothing new under the sun. Everyone adapts and modifies from what they've seen from others. And so you have absolutely done that in spades, Evelyn. So as I'm going to do just a little bit on my world, and then I really want to jump into what happened last night and talk more about your world. So what you're looking at here with Riven Realm, this is a project which is on ice a bit. I started it 2.5 years ago, and as I got really deep into Blue Box and into my Greyhawk stream, I realized I did not have the time to commit to proper world building. I have a full World Anvil account, which is part of what we'll talk about in a moment. I've got all kinds of content, which we're going to talk about as well. But the map was something I started working on, which is in Campaign Cartographer. And, obviously you can see, what was my influence, Evelyn?
I mean, I'm not really sure.
Well, for the map, I'm sorry, for the map influence. It's pretty obvious what it is, right? It's Tolkien-esque. Yeah, it's from the Lord of the Rings books. I like this sort of sepia-toned, very simple iconography word. So I started building a world here, And the Aelfirn Wasteland, let me hone in on this. And it's a wasteland, so there's not much in it. But you all have heard me talk about one of my favorite game setting, which is Dark Sun.
Dark Sun.
Yeah, exactly. And so the Aelfirn Wasteland, very much inspired by Dark Sun, but influenced by one of the main things I think everyone needs to think about with world building, which we'll talk about in a moment. So what I'm showing here on the screen, and it'll probably stay up for most of the stream only because my World Anvil account is not ready to let me back in, and Evelyn and I just talked about this today, so not her fault, my fault. But I've got a few tips here and tricks for, I think, things that you should start with on world building. For our viewers, let me look at the chat and make sure I've not missed something. Yeah, no, I agree, Tim. Like, I love playing in existing worlds, and no one's ever going to compare to stuff like published content, Galarian, stuff that's coming from Troll game. I think even when you look at Greyhawk, it's impossible to compare with 40 years of content. I would never want to do that as a world builder, but there is this inexorable desire in the heart of many to make something that's their own. And sometimes I think it's a derivative of creative content desire, but also sometimes it's when you're, well, actually, let me put this to the chat. And Evelyn, you're welcome to join. Beyond the creative desire to make something that's your own, have any of you felt an inclination to do this for a different reason or felt a different benefit from making your own world? Yeah, TLG, that's right, Steve. Hello, Taryn, you were so fun. Sieglin, yeah, like follow Sieglin, the stuff that she's putting into our Discord is insane. So the question was, I like this almost Jeopardy timer music I got running right here. It's perfect, it's perfect.
Sure.
I can't claim credit, it just happened. No world was okay, that's just Tim because you're so old. That doesn't count. Reverse inspired by Warhammer. Okay, I like that. All right, so maybe it's just me. Here's one reason I like the idea of running your own world is no one can tell you it's wrong. Like you can, if I say the city's there, the river's there, the lore is that, the religion's that, the races, no one can question that, right?
It's that now.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, and which is, especially you have a lot of the, what do they call them, grognards, with the old school stuff that are like, that's not this world, that's not consistent with how this should be. And look, I'm not trying to make fun of people, but I get it. Like I love pouring myself into the lore of old school stuff, but I never want people to feel intimidated like they can't run a game. They can't create a campaign, because if they do it, God forbid if it ever goes on Twitch, on stream somewhere, that they're going to be told that's not how it should be. Or they're going to have a player, even if it's not on Twitch, they're going to have a player in the room saying, that's not what the book says about what that world or what that area or what that country or that city or that nation or that religion should be. And no one wants to feel that as a DM. So sometimes the value of having your own world is just do whatever the heck you want.
It's true. It's true.
Anyone in the chat, get off my lawn. Yes, God of your own world. Scott, you're exactly right. Okay, so let's talk about last night. Mm-hmm. Last night, you ran an incredible stream.
Thank you.
And that stream, I mean, that's not just a compliment. That is genuinely like just homage. And as I watched, what I saw was the character creation effort that went in. All those PCs loved playing their characters. The world had rich lore and background. Your DMing was excellent. You were so engaging with the players and the audience, which I have known you would be. And I'm gonna put you on the spot. I'm gonna call you out.
Right.
I'm gonna call you out. You ready? This is my one moment to embarrass you. Have I not asked you to Twitch stream one of your games for a long time.
For a very long time.
And you have always said, I'm not ready, I'm not ready. And I have always said, you are ready, you are ready. And you absolutely crushed it. Now your response could be, yes, I wasn't ready till last night, John, so shut up. I wouldn't have been ready before. But I think, honestly, you would have been ready at any time. You absolutely killed it. I got to kill this sepia tone screen here. I look like I'm jaundiced. This is just my map. What I have that's a better way. So while I'm doing this, you talk about for a moment the fear of DMing on stream on Twitch.
All right. So yeah, I mean, it's a lot. I mean, especially with I remember we had initially talked about me doing it just from the get-go for like I hadn't DM'd at all yet. When we were initially talking about it, I was like, well, maybe I want to like get a little bit of like practice under my belt before I like go in front of everybody on the internet. And so actually the first time I ran a game was Tuesday that we weren't going to be able to play Greyhawk because people weren't going to be able to be there, and so I ran a game of Honey Heist with the guys from the Greyhawk Awakening group off stream, and that was really fun.
That was your first one, right?
That was my very first game that I ever run, and it was a simple one that I had time to prepare for it quickly because I had only a couple days to really get ready for that. And so that was a lot of fun, and I realized very quickly how very mischievous players like to try to touch everything.
Or do exactly what you don't expect, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, okay, so I'm gonna improvise a lot here. I didn't expect that. Okay. But yeah, and then I my second one shot was actually my first game set in my the actual world that I've been working on that I ran during BlueBoxCon. And I had such a great table for that one. And
no, you really did. Like I sat upstairs for a bit because I played with Lee for a time. Lee, who's L-Hawk in our chat, she did a good job, like really fun. And I was right next to your table, and there was so much enjoyment happening as well. So that was really your first. Was that your first ever in-person, many people at the table DM effort?
Oh yeah, that was my
golly.
First time with people at the table in person. And also like having my maps prepared, I generated all the characters for them, and just putting that all together within a context that wasn't like having something pre-written for me, because Honey Heist has like ABC points to it. Like
right.
It's meant to be a really simple game. It's a great one to like run with kids because it's simple. But this was like, okay, I have to establish my through line. I have to establish all of these NPCs. I need to know like everywhere that they could possibly try to go and keep them on, because it is a one shot. So I have to keep them on track so that we can get the whole story in a short amount of time. And so I was like, all right, let's see how this goes. And and that was just such a great experience. And so with last night's group, I was like, okay guys, I've done this once before. I know the world, where you're at pretty well. Like, I'm comfortable playing in it now. So you create your characters. You tell me what you want to be. And so like they brought me back these really incredible like interesting characters who I didn't like. I was like, just send me a couple sentences of backstory, just a general idea of like where you've been, where you go, whatever. And I got like full backstory.
No, these are Blue Box fans. Come on, they're sending you.
And it's like, this is so great. Like, oh, let me just find ways to utilize these things and bring it into the one shot that we're doing. But like, it was, oh yes. Good. I'm glad you added the apple cart to your inventory. But yeah, and it was just such a fun experience to get to play with them.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm gonna cut you off.
No, you're good.
All right. So I want to make sure we talk about the chat, because the chat's been good. Yes, it does sound like get off my lawn. And then writing a book, like laboratory. Thank you. Like Siegelin's been such a great new member of the community. Steve Bloodwild recommended her, and she's pumping all kinds of incredible artwork into our Discord as well. You guys got to check her stuff out. It's crazy, 3D stuff. It's a different kind of art than I've ever seen before. But there was something else. Yeah, John Diced. Yeah, exactly. Instead of jaundiced. Dungeon mastering is part referee, part story writer, part social host, and part performance art. That's exactly right. And I think everyone's seen that. Jester said something I missed earlier. I wanted to bring it back up. Anyway, Jester, you were awesome. Whatever you said, I remember it. So I think everything you covered is a common experience, and we really want to talk about world building, and we've only got about 30 minutes left on our stream tonight, which I want to jump into the world building stuff, but I'm really getting into first time DMing, which is probably what the stream should have been now that I'm rethinking it. But that's okay. There's going to be a world building 2 and 3 and 4 because we've got lots of comments on this idea. Like it's an important thing. And yes, I pulled my stuff up and I'm John Diced again. You were, I don't want to say confessed, it wasn't a sin, but as you admitted, you were reluctant, hesitant, your first DMing session. That's normal. Many people are hesitant. We've got many people on the chat tonight who said they were kind of unplugging from the game, or they were fearful of gaming again, or they would have stopped, or certainly didn't want to stream. They were inspired and wanted to stream. I don't know how I should take that. Part of me thinks like, oh, you inspired. Part of me goes like, they looked at him and said, well, he can do it. I can do it for sure. So whichever it is, what I want you to talk about is as reluctant as you were. And I know playing here in our room was fun, or doing a honeybee heist, which is a pre-prepared thing. Last night was really stepping out for you. This is you're exposing yourself to the world. Okay, whoa, no, not what I'm saying. Gosh, I'm so good at that. You're exposing yourself as a DM to the world, your game, your style, your role play, all of that. You entered with trepidation. You told me, you told our team tonight, you were concerned walking in. But when you finished, you clicked that end button. How did you feel?
Amazing.
You did, didn't you?
Yes.
Yes. And you got feedback too. Like, tell us about, did the feedback matter to you?
I mean, the only part that really mattered to me was whether or not my players enjoyed themselves. Because at the end of the night, like, I was having fun and I was enjoying my side of the table. But if they weren't enjoying themselves, then I would have felt like I had not done my job as the DM of that game. And so, like, no matter what the stories that I have to tell are, as long as the players are having fun and they feel, like I'm bringing something good to them, that we can play in together, then I feel like I've accomplished something, and that's what feels really incredible to me.
Well, no, I agree, and I think that makes sense. Because the most important thing as a DM is that your players enjoy themselves. My greatest fear when I started streaming, I played the game for a long, long time before streaming, was will it remove enjoyment for the players? And I think ultimately, if what you do is enjoyable to you and the players, it's likely to be enjoyable to the fans that are watching. So I think that's really well said. Now, Siegeland, I want to correct myself. I'm so sorry, because I thought from some of our Discord communications I knew. So forgive me, whatever your gender pronoun is, I will observe and honor. I misread from our Discord, so that was not intentional, I assure you. Okay, good question. Will Evie begin running a consistent stream campaign based on the success? She and I talked about that today.
We did.
And I'll let her answer.
I spoke with John this morning about looking forward to what might be coming, and I am hoping to start running a full campaign stream about 6 months from now, we'll see. But before that, I'm going to be doing basically when I can for now, like a month, once a month, one shot situation, which also means that my group from last night, hopefully everybody will figure out availability, but my group from last night will get to see the other half of the story that we started last night. So yes, that is the plan. So yeah, so coming down the pike, I will be doing my own campaign here on Blue Box, but until then, I will be doing some one-shots in the meantime, playing in this world in different areas, but definitely with my group from last night.
No, the chat's blowing up. Everyone's excited to see that, and then one of the comments is, yes, too many streams to keep up. It's okay. Just keep it narrow to Blue Box and those who we're close with, like Lord Gazumba and our Charity One streams. It's not too much for anybody. Like follow Machiked and NPC Voices and Robert and Time Lord's wife and our stream and Friday Night Crusades and Evelyn and our. That's not too much. It's just all good D&D. But no, I think that's all the time. What else do you have better? Are you gonna watch Netflix? I mean, come on, seriously, think about it. Like the amount of time that most people spend watching, okay, that's an upcoming LMA. Like where else are you gonna spend your time? But you think about it, like a lot of people spend time watching TV and Netflix and Prime Video and other stuff, and it's pre-canned content. And here, you can be part of what we're doing as a community, and I see much that agrees with that. So, all right. What did I say we'd talk about tonight, Evelyn?
Worldbuilding.
Worldbuilding. Oh yes. Okay, got that. All right. So, totally do it again. Phantom, just accept that you're weak and belong among us. Exactly. No, Chris. No work. Work belongs between 8 and 5. And that's why we keep our streams here after 5 or on weekends. So I don't want to hear any stuff about I got to work. That is unacceptable. I'm kidding. All right. Building a world. So I think first thing is tools. And I mentioned one tool today that is incredible. World Anvil. I've worked with World Anvil. I saw Robert working in World Anvil with his world building effort. Many others are using that tool. It is fun. It's not too expensive. Are you working with that, Evelyn, or?
I have an account in World Anvil. I just have the free version where you can do a little bit in it. So I haven't put anything into it yet, other than like I've saved the name of my world, and I think that's about it. So it's my placeholder. So that once I get all of my notes written out, that I can start plugging everything into there. I'm definitely the type of person that prefers to kind of like write everything out as I'm brainstorming through things, so that I can cross through things and just scribble little side notes, because the moment I put it into like after actually like typing it out, it's real and it's serious and it's there, you know. So I know I can delete it at any point, but it feels that way to me. So I like being able to handwrite all my notes before I bring it into that sort of setting.
No, I think that's fair, and like everybody works differently. I think that's important for us to talk about tonight.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But we have to write. I'm sorry, Patrick. Fraley17 said, "What kind of hours are 8 to 5?" That's our good friend here, who's normally on the road by I think 3 o'clock or 3:30 in the morning, like some ridiculous hour every. But World Anvil is fun. It's a really good tool. It's got all kinds of plugins. If you haven't checked it out, it's pretty inexpensive. I use it, but it's not the only option out there. Now, Hero Lab, it's a much more intensive database application. It's got a SQL backend to it. Actually, it's hold on. Hero Lab is the character creator. I'm forgetting the name of the actual. I have an account for it, but I haven't used it in so long. But it's really, really good stuff. Lone Wolf is the creator for that, and they have a great tool. If you're really more into a sort of SQL type database, you want to type lots of notes in, do some links, you want less of a GUI like you have here with World Anvil, then the Lone Wolf tool is incredible. And then you have the option of just doing simple Excel and Word documents, or like I've talked about so many times here, Oh, I think my graph paper pad is elsewhere. But graph paper, you can build a world on whatever you want. But there are some really cool digital tools today. So in the chat, anyone populate real quick if you would. How many of you are using one of these tools? A World Anvil type that, or using Lone Wolf, not Hero Lab, crap, what is the name of their core world building tool? Anyway, pop it in chat already. I can Google it right now. I don't want to take the time. And I don't want to, I'm not saying that because I don't like it. I like it. I actually have logged into it. Indestructible healer to a string armor, glass cannon. Obsidian portal, yes. Lone wolf, no. Incarnate, that's a map builder. That's also a cool map. It's a more, so if you look at like what you're seeing here on World Anvil, I think they might even have an Incarnate plugin now. I'm not sure about that, but this is very similar to the types of maps you can create with World Anvil. If you go to Campaign Cartographer, CC3 is, their CC3 Plus actually is the one that I've been working on. They have all kinds of maps you can create. It's much more flexible, but it's like an AutoCAD application. There is a high level of learning curve to working in CC3 Plus. And I'm not discouraging anyone. If you're highly technical, like I think of Robert, Phantom NJ, you know, IT-based career guy who does all kinds of stuff, you might like Campaign Cartographer. But if you just want something easy to jump into for mapping, Incarnate is probably the easiest thing. And I'm not sure, but I think World Anvil might have a plugin for that now. Hexographer, Steve said, I've never used that. Conca is one. I've never heard of that. Dungeon Fog. Oh my goodness. Let's export these notes. I think we should pop these in our Discord and maybe create a separate. Let's create a world building channel. I think in Discord. Grape juice. Come on, Ranger. What is that? Fiddling with. Yeah, I think Dungeon Fog, Hexographer. Yeah, Google Drive. So I'm going to pop up something on Google Drive. So for example, here are some notes from let me pull up the right one, Riven Realm. So working through different guiding questions, I'm going to scroll through this quickly. No one please take too much time and go through this and like start uncovering. Like these are just a lot of notes, linguistics, worlds, cities, regions, religions, stuff that I'm working on. I put a lot of that into Google Notes initially. So tools are topic one. Stop typing now. What is here? Seriously, quick campaign. Yeah, OneNote. Oh, I use OneNote all the time. OneNote is a fantastic pro D&D. Tim said pro D&D. All right, so I really want to grab this chat and pop it into CC3. Yeah, it is very technical. But if you have time, and I took the time with it, you can make anything in Campaign Cartographer 3. And they're not a sponsor, and I'm not promoting them. And honestly, if you're not willing to take a lot of time, don't bother. But if you want to make anything in any way you can, it's basically an AutoCAD program. And it's fun, but it's a pain, and it takes a lot of time. And everyone that works in it says the same thing. Anna uses OneNote. Okay, Jay. Anna does not use OneNote for those maps she creates, though, right? Yeah, Tailspire, right, Chester? Tailspire is great for localized mapping for sure, and that's actually a good way to look at it too, because you can have your macro map, your geography of your world, but maybe you don't want to map out a city, and that's what I think Tailspire is so good for. Over a campaign, she uses OneNote, yes. But what does she map in, Jay? Like when she builds the Greyhawk maps. Thank you for the sub! Since we're talking about Anna here, let me pull up one of Anna's maps. Evelyn, while I'm pulling this up, talk to us about the campaign last night again, because we know we have many here that watched. What was the most surprising part of the game for you? That could mean like something the players did, something that.
surprising. Well, the sheer chaos that is Joshua Blake is one part.
Well, yeah, because he. Okay, so let me ask you here. I don't mean to interrupt you, but like I watched a bit of him last night. He is both things. He is the most invested role player you can have. Like he will crush it, and then he'll also be the most distracting sort of OOC guy you can have. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, like he's so into it, but at the same time he's so into it that he's just like, oh, well, I have to go with this, and I have to go that way, because like he like wanted to chase off after this character, and because his sense motive check he rolled real low. And so he didn't trust him, and he was going to follow him, and I was like, guys, we need to stay this way, because Vivi has to be done by this time, so I need you to go this way, please, not that way.
Which honestly, like that's just like in some ways great roleplay. But I think I remember now the part I was thinking of. There was a point at which I think they had killed the BBEG. And I think it was a Rakasha, was it? Because the way you described, yeah. And then they heard the whimpering of a child, and I think the first thing Josh said was, "Fireball."
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he reminds me of an actor looking for a job. William, that's not nice. He's an actor that already has jobs and is looking for more, bigger, and better jobs. If you don't support NPC voices, I've got to ask you, what are you doing? Go check him out. Follow his Twitch stream. Josh is absolutely amazing, and he is going to be a superstar in whatever he does. Mm-hmm. And I'm not being mean to you, William. I know what you're saying. All right, so. In our final few moments here, let me talk about a couple things. One, you go to Tools, Hero Lab, World Anvil, Word, Excel. We have in the chat many tools tonight. We're going to post those in our Discord. Have you popped our Discord creds in yet? I didn't notice.
I did earlier, but I will do it again.
Yeah, let's pop them up. Yes, exactly. There we go. Yes, what are you doing? That's right, Josh. Yes, I know. Like we're all going to create our entire worlds in Tailspire. That's going to happen for many of us. How could you not? You are not. So our July 17th stream for the charity for St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital is going to include 2 streams from Blue Box in the morning. The second stream from Blue Box, which will start at 2, will be all in Tailspire. And as you know here at Blue Box, we use a lot of the stuff I have on the walls behind me here. I'm a big mini terrain guy, much like Jay, but I also like, I said no to Roll20 and Fantasy Grounds. I just didn't want to do those because I didn't think they made anything more immersive than what I could already do here. But Tailspire, that was a different beast. It is way, way more versatile. I think you're going to get a lot of people creating worlds and maps in those. And so my dream is to put Anna B. Meyer, and I'm working on this, in touch with Johnny Rhee and Jason Roy from Tailspire. And we're going to start seeing Greyhawk maps, Greyhawk cities, all in Tailspire. You watch, it's going to happen. Yes, exactly. All right, we've talked so little about world building tonight. I am a remiss host in the extreme. So let's talk about game type. So macro theme, you could play D&D style traditional, which is your sort of Tolkien-esque lore, Fantasy Grounds. What are some others?
I mean, if you look at the overall, there's things like Starfinder and Warhammer 40K, which are more space science fiction style.
Which in sort of old school D&D, you had Spelljammer style stuff, right? And then sort of adjacent to that, between the traditional ethereal plane and the space stuff, you had this really cool thing that was sort of, I'm going back to old school D&D, and I know you know what this is, where it was more about multi-planes, Planescape. See, like you have a Spelljammer or Planescape or traditional D&D, and then you had sort of ancillary D&D stuff like Dark Sun, which I've talked about, than other worlds. But you have other types of worlds you can build. Like what else?
I mean, you can build the worlds to the point that you can imagine. I mean, they're games that are very like modern even. Like I've come across some that are in Cyberpunk, yep. But I've come across, you know, ones that are very much set in a fictionalized version of reality, and people like those sorts of games as well. So, I mean, if you can imagine it, it can be put on a table, and you can, you know, play it.
Yeah. So everybody pop in. So you got Cyberpunk. Metamorphosis Alpha. I'm looking at Demiplanes. That's cool. Yes, Astral Tabletop, Google Earth, Anna Orth, yes, exactly. So I do need to point out to everyone, though, we have a new sub tonight. Ian Ray at 59. You got to watch out for this guy. I think he is highly suspect. Actually, he's dating my daughter, so that's why I'm saying. I think
So he is highly suspect, is what you mean.
Don't ban him. Don't hate him. I think that's who that is. But no, he's a really, really great guy. He actually played. He played a character here in our campaign in Rune Lords. Well, the first one, Tiernal, died so fast.
And then Thovin died equally fast.
Thovin. Yeah, you're right. He died equally fast. Yes. So maybe that's a sign. You play D&D with your daughter's, your girlfriend's dad, rather. You might die quickly. Actually, no. To be fair, my daughter killed his second character, but that's a whole other story, and there was a good reason for it. But I played James Bond style games when I was in high school. I've talked about that. I love post-apocalyptic Far Cry style games. No, I keep saying that, Fallout, not Far Cry, style games. What else? Yeah, Rip Tiernal. Rip Tiernal became a real meme here on Blue Box. What else do we? Shadowlands. Yes, I forgot about Shadow. I loved playing many of those games. Of course, MERP, which was really more, again, back to the sort of old school. So, step one, figure out what kind of game you want to play, what tool you want to use. And you don't have to spend money on that tool. A notepad, well, I guess that's money, but you know, you draw on your porch, whatever you would, crayon, whatever. Like, you can figure out a way. I don't want this to be about money. Whatever tool you want to use, and then figure out what you want to play. Now, this is, I think, a good place for us to finish up our, better watch yourself. Oh, let's go! Throwing shade in the stream. When you start talking about your daughter's boyfriend, she's gonna come back at you. I love it. No, you know I love you guys. Until that's why I kill you. The
characters.
I know. I always get that mixed up, don't I? That came up today in our Discord. Maybe it's intentional. It's a bit Freudian. So those are obvious. Like, what kind of game do I want to play? What tool am I going to use? I know, Robert. Yes, I know, Robert. Okay, so I'm going to put this in the chat, and this is going to be controversial. When you're building a world, tool could be chosen later, but let's go ahead and put that in the list, okay? And then let's put general style. And you could say, well, I'm going to have multiple style. I'm going to have cyberpunk on one end, and I'm going to have D&D on the other, well, whatever. But let's just say for this conversation, you're going to hone in on a genre. Once you've done that, what do you think is the most important element of your world for you to decide? And to make this easier, let's say we're talking about a D&D style world, because this gets a little, I think I could make an analog to any style of world. Actually, I know I could, but I think for the discussion, it's easier to hone in on a traditional sort of modified, medieval, pseudo-European, Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones style world. What's the most important thing for you to decide when you start to build your world to help guide you as a world builder to what you want to make?
Hey, Robert says the Pantheon.
The Pantheon. Okay, so I have Pantheon here on my list. Super important. But I think I have something which guides the Pantheon that goes before the Pantheon. Let's see what else. General aesthetic. Okay, so I agreed. So general aesthetic is right there. That's one that could apply. And what? Oh my! Oh, have you calculated that, Chris? Do my PCs have a 33%? No, they do not. That's a lie. They might have a 33% decline or demise rate, but not a survival rate. That's not true. Shadowrun, yes, Shadowrun rocked. That's not true. Yes, Chris's have 33% survival. That is true. So I think this. I think your PC's not your players. Why do I always get that confused? If you see me on the evening news soon, you'll know why. No, I'm teasing.
I've never met this man in my life.
They play the Satanic Panic was real. Okay, so to me, it is magic level, and if you don't want to use the term magic, just think about sort of the overall potency, or the phrase I like to, or the word I like to use occasionally, which always gets me a little bit of hate, puissance of the player characters or the monsters. Thinking about how magical this world is. And I've got a few examples I jotted down here 5 minutes before the stream. And that's not an indication of how important I think this is or how much I love my viewers, and it's just like my life and what I'm doing and all the travel. But you know, if you got Lord of the Rings, I call that, what would you call that, Evelyn? Lord of the Rings, where's that in magic?
I would say low magic.
Yeah.
There's a little bit, but it's not the primary driving force of the world, at least in the canon stories of Tolkien.
That's right. And Jester, you're exactly right. Low fantasy, high fantasy. Now, Tolkien, I think, is a very interesting example. Because if you look at the sort of present world of The Hobbit and the Return of the King, Two Towers, and Fellowship of the Ring, that is what I would call low present magic. But there is also this sense of previous, more powerful magic, right? So you have these elven artifacts and these powerful weapons and the rings and Sting and Galandra, all these amazing artifacts of a previous age. Now, this is a great way to build a world. It's a theme. If you look at Robert Jordan's world with Wheel of Time, it's very similar. So in Robert Jordan's world, they don't use traditional arcane and divine magics. They use something called, and I'm not putting you on the spot. When I ask you these questions, Evelyn, half the time I'm asking the chat to see if they know. In Robert Jordan's world, magic is called what? Chat? What is magic in the Wheel of Time? It's not arcane, it's not divine, it comes from the source, right? So the source, and you have two sources. You have the masculine, feminine source reference, the one power, that's right. But the use of the one power, Jester, is called what? The use of the one power is called? It's not casting. So maybe that's a better way for it. It's not casting, it's what? Well, the Belgariad, that David Eddings, yes, Tim, David Eddings. Honestly, that was a lot more fun. Jester got it. Channeling. That's right. So channeling is what you do in the Wheel of Time. You don't cast arcane spells. You channel the one source, and that channeling is really well developed in his book. But back to the level of magic, I'd call that mid magic in his book. But it also tells a tale of an age that came before, which was much more high magic. And hold on, I'm gonna come back here. So Tim, the Belgariad, so my iconic sort of self-identified PC is Mandaralin. Mandaralin, I completely ganked as a kid from the Belgariad. Now, to be fair, I tried to reread that about 5 to 10 years ago. And, well, let's just say I liked it more as a kid, but I'm going to say that. No, but it's stuck in my head. So Terry Goodkind, Sword of Truth, yes, that's a great example. Some other series. So let's go to Jeopardy and Bar Trivia are my jam. I've talked a lot about Abercrombie. Very low magic. All of Abercrombie's stuff, it is magic is rare, suspicious, and almost exclusively either necromantic They have what they call eaters in that world, and these are mages who only get their power from consuming human flesh. Or you have other types of mages which are still, it almost seems universal in his world that magic is akin to something, if not evil, at best questionable. Yeah, he is a magician. That's exactly right. Who's that in there? North Shore DM. Yes, he is a magician, no doubt. Joe is incredible. I've talked about that a lot on my Discord. If you go to Pathfinder stuff or D&D 5e, that's high magic. Right? That's everybody's got a fireball. Everybody's got something incredible that they can blast off. And I'm not throwing shade at any of those. But I think as a world builder, you start out thinking, okay, what's my overarching genre? And okay, so let's go to, if it's space-based, then how powerful are the weapons? What kind? Do you have plasma? Do you have warp drive? Do you have time travel? How powerful can that be? If it's post-apocalyptic, okay, how austere is that post-apocalyptic world? Is everybody scrabbling to find scraps and putting together handmade weapons? Or are they finding nuclear arsenal and doing so I think the power level of the world is an intrinsic piece of any type of world building, and I think especially in D&D based worlds, coming back to Robert's point with Pantheon, once I know what I want the world to be about, that helps me craft the Pantheon. Now I think that seems backwards, but think about it. If I make the god first, and if I want the god to be all powerful and engaged, well, that's already created the level of divine power that's existing in the world. Or maybe I'm over arguing the point, but my idea, when you think about what you want with the world, then the accoutrement of the, oh my gosh, I'm calling deities accoutrement. That's not what I believe in my own personal life, right? But when you're world building, think of what you want to have, and then you make your deities and your systems and everything match that. All right, I've talked too much. Evelyn, thoughts?
I mean, I don't know that I have anything particular to add to that. I just know that, when I was starting off with mine, that I kind of considered that as the big aspect of it is what my top 3 things were figuring out the power level of everything, what magic was going to be there, my deities, and actually the geography of the world itself, what the world, what the continents were, and started breaking it down from there. These are the continents, these are the countries, these are the cities, these are the towns, villages, rivers, deserts, mountains, and breaking it all into smaller fragments from there. And then
I like that, actually. I think your list is even better than mine. But we still started kind of at the top, which is the power level, right? So the power level, whether that's magic or whatever it is, I think that's so critical because it guides you in your world building. Of course, races, cities, gods, deities, countries, major themes, those are all things that you want to think through as a world builder. But ultimately, it's just fun. Even if you embrace other stuff that's out there like we do here. I love what's created by Trollord Games. I love Golarion. I love Greyhawk. Greyhawk is my favorite setting ever created, and I will always play in Greyhawk. But when you have that desire to express and to make something your own, it is fun to build a world. Evelyn, before I close off, do you have any closing thoughts?
None that I can think of.
That's right, okay. I've learned not to expect anyone to ask that question. I've got to look up interviewing skills because I know I don't ask good questions. I put people on the spot no, not really. Yeah, so please follow us. Anybody in the chat have any final questions for us before we raid Jay? Thank you, everybody, for being with us. If you watch tonight and you're not a follower, or if you're a follower and you're not a sub, if your sub is expired, we have one question for you at Blue Box. What are you doing? Come on, give us a follow and a sub. Do not miss our upcoming streams. We'll be back on Sunday with our regular Rune Lords campaign, then full GHA session. Also, I'm running a special one-shot on Saturday with Casey, Adrico, and Jay, Lord Gazumba, on Saturday, and I gotta get ready for that. And then we got our 17th stream for all the cool stuff that is really going to be one of the most important things that we will do all year here, which is raise money for St. Jude's Research Hospital for Children. Just a wonderful, so, you know, don't give any bits tonight, please. Don't give any subs or cheers. Save it all. Bring your money on the 17th and give it to St. Jude's. We want to support them. But yeah, don't think we don't love it when you support us as well, because I'm trying to upgrade all of our audio equipment here, make the room sound even just a bit better. But thank you, all of our mad chatters, as always. Try a new battery first. Thank you. Markov is always up to something, Chris. We miss you though, Chris. We miss you deeply. And yes, we are going to. So here we go. We're going to raid Jay. Don't leave us, so we can give Jay a nice raid from Blue Box. So if you missed it earlier, I want to reiterate what Evelyn said. She said that you will see her world and her DMing. It's going to be a little bit intermittently for the next 6 months, because like any artist, she wants to go deep underground and make sure that when she brings her content, it is the best. I so respect that. But you will see a regular stream from her weekly-ish, coming in 2022, and so it is just more joy and rejoicing here at Blue Box as we celebrate all the content creators that are part of our community. Let's keep rocking D&D, and as we get ready to raid Jay, any final questions from our streamers? I like this. If we can, everybody can hang on. We could raid Jay with more than he has. That's always fun to do so close to his stream time, because he always crushes us. He's got a much bigger stream.
Let's bring him some people.
Yes, exactly. Let's bring up some people. Thank you, Greg. Thank you so much, Long Shot. Oh, I didn't give away this. All right, I'll give away this extra on Sunday. I didn't mean to not. I'll give one of these away on Sunday.
I'll make a note. Remind me.
Yes, exactly. We will make that up to you. Rating Lord Gazumba. We got him a hype train. Let's go.